Do you ever think about gender in video games? No? Well, you will now. As a trans person who plays a variety of games, I'm pretty invested in how gender plays a role in a main character's actions and presentation. There's basically three types of choices for gender you can have in a main character creator: predetermined, limited choice based, and whatever the hell the game I Was a Teenage Exocolonist has going on. More on that one later. Starting off with a main character with a predetermined gender, let's comment on Slay the Princess. I won't be going into spoilers, but I really want you to play this game. It's really good. This game is a visual horror novel that puts a twist on the frail damsel trope. At first, the gender roles are pretty set in stone. The main character is a man, vaguely a knight character, and the princess is a woman. She seems almost like a caricature of a girl, helpless and demure. The story surrounding the characters forces the main character to kill her, and the aesthetic of her being a helpless princess adds to this dynamic. But continually, these two binary tropes are subverted. Preconceptions about gender roles play less and less of a factor in the story as it goes on. The MC having multiple changes of heart, and the princess continually twisting into more monstrous beings. The story is almost laughing at your first impression of these two. In the end, both of the characters' typical gender roles are almost completely shed in favor of genuine love. It's a love story, after all. Onto my continual obsession and second option. Stardew Valley, if you didn't know, is a farming life simulator that inspired a whole genre of modern, cozy indie games. I personally have played far too much of it, and I have gender thoughts. Stardew Valley's relationship with gender is very interesting because it is selectively fluid. When first booting up the game, you see that the character creator has two options: man or woman. Initially, I had the urge to make myself smaller on this issue, because I love Stardew Valley. I mean, it's made by an indie creator, so I shouldn't demand representation from it, right? Eric Barone is only one guy, and the updates are for free. However, when I started wondering if there was only one woman option in the custom creator, what would people feel? We would be confused, right? Because it's expected to have men as an option for these menus. I realized that these two options, men and women, are seen as the inherent and natural quote-unquote default. That's why some game developers don't question this binary. Yes, the updates are free, and frankly, I wouldn't demand frivolous new features. But I just don't think this is a small issue 10 years into the game being released. By excluding non-binary people from your game's narrative, you are alienating a portion of your audience that is, unfortunately, very used to it. Otherwise, I felt like the aesthetic customization was interestingly non-conforming. You can be a woman with a beard or a man in a skirt. The aesthetics are not predetermined by gender. Personally, I felt really cool cutting down trees as a guy in a skirt, but if I wanted to wear pants, I could, although I would have to learn how to sew or go to the wizard. Let's touch on the transgender wizard spell. You can change your appearance, favorite thing, and gender in the wizard's basement. I fucking love this. I wish it was this easy to transition and I wouldn't need HRT shots every other week. You do this by going into the basement and touching this thing, and wham, gender acquired. It's such a fun and integrated way to do this. I think it would be pretty boring to just switch on your own, and I don't think it's in the spirit of Stardew to just give you options like that freely. It doesn't feel like it's pandering or alienating me, it's just another aspect of the world. And players that have been playing for years and years and years and have transitioned on the same game file can transition, and I think that's beautiful. While most interactions with the NPCs are devoid of changes between genders, There is one that I would like to highlight. One that is very bad. This is the I fucking hate Clint section. As a man or a woman pre 1.7 update, you can take Clint to the movies on a hangout. It's a bad idea, but whatever. If you're a guy, it's fairly uneventful. Clint comments on it being a guy's night and moans about paying for snacks. If you're a girl, however, it's so much worse. As a girl, he gets drunk at the movie theater and makes 2 weird passes at you. While this makes my skin crawl, it is also really accurate to real life guys like Clint. Clint is a weird man who is desperate for Emily, another NPC, and women's attention in general. It makes sense that he would fumble this hangout if you're a girl. I'm of 2 minds on this. On one hand, it's pretty realistic to how women are treated by men like this one. On the other, I really hate that the girl version is getting just so much worse of an event. In my script for this last part, I wrote down, I love whatever the fuck I was a teenage exocolonialist has going on. And that is so true past me. This game is about a tiny colony of families escaping from Earth to live and grow on a foreign planet. It has a lot of themes about growing up and relationships, but also commentary on current-day capitalism and colonialism. We'll be primarily focusing on the gender of it all right now. Starting off, you expect to have 2 or 3 options for the player character's gender. That's really not the case here. It's more of a gradient or spectrum rather than a binary choice. You have the options of they, them, he, him, she, her, or you have a combination. The more male you slide, the more characters will refer to you as he, and the other pronouns use the same game mechanic. Honestly, I've never really seen a game use this model. It is really cool and really intuitive because you grow up with the character. Nintendo's non-binary option for their new upcoming game is really cool, but I find this character creation so much more thorough. Another mechanic is how feminine or masculine you want to be in this universe. This is fucking awesome for me, a feminine trans guy. In all my years of gaming, I've never felt more represented by a main character. Usually the guy option is more masculine and boring compared to the girl option, and I end up rolling my eyes. With this system, I get to be closer to myself even when the design is predetermined to some extent. Another point to touch on is that transphobia and misgendering doesn't exist in this universe. Even flawed characters don't misgender you or are transphobic. I find this very refreshing and it makes sense for the game's time and setting. Gender identity is inherently a non-issue when you're so socially advanced and tight-knit as these characters are. I don't know. After so many stories surrounding trans pain and hardship, it is genuinely nice to have some escapism to dive into. The game is very good and you should play it, by the way. I don't think any of these options are good or bad inherently. I don't think changing your gender in Slay the Princess would necessarily work for the story, but it really doesn't Stardew. It's whatever works for your narrative. If you want the player to be represented and imprint onto the main character, maybe having a more robust character creator is best. But if you want the main character to be their own person with agency, then having a predetermined gender and appearance could work. Thanks for watching, and now onto the fanart section of this video. If you didn't know, I have a wall of fanart I update weekly. It's gotten really big quickly, to be honest, and I am so grateful. If you ever wanted to make me something, my email is in the description, but absolutely no pressure. First up is this lovely piece by Ghost Mojito. I adore this so much. I specifically love the line art. It's really solid and the colored lines complement this soft vibe you got going. This makes me so happy. The heart locket necklace is awesome and goes with my aesthetic really well. Second is by Round Cat on Blue Sky. This is so cute. I love how I'm throwing the hat into the air with such a sassy pose. I think the cross-hatching details add a lot of depth to this drawing. Thank you so much. Last but not least is my first animation. This is so awesome. This little guy is so energetic and wonderful. I love how the glasses are subtly jiggles apart from the face when my head moves. The sketchy look really adds the sunset vibes. Thank you. All right, that's all for now. Thank you guys so much for watching.